Good afternoon. Welcome to Trading the Close on this Wednesday. I'm Toni Valliere with Verified Investing. And here's what's making headlines today. TripAdvisor stock plummets as much as 38% after an earnings report that showed a loss for the first quarter. Shopify shares plunged 19% on weak guidance. Uber reports first quarter earnings that beat expectations but fall short of estimates for gross bookings. Intel stock drops after the Biden administration banned some sales to China's Huawei. ARM, AirBNB, AMC will all be reporting earnings after the closing bell today. And the Dow continued in the green for the sixth straight day. Let's get a check of where things stand just minutes before the closing bell. We see the Dow still holding on in the green, up 208 points, 0.54%. The NASDAQ down slightly, 30 points, 0.19%. The S&P 500 up just slightly, over 3 points, 0.08%. We've got oil up almost $1 here, 1.08%. We've got gold down just slightly, over $5. Bitcoin is also down just slightly, $63 at this time. Let's get a check on today's trading with Chief Market Strategist Gareth Soloway, and more plummets, more downfalls with
more
earnings.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's all about the guidance. And again, one of the things we talked about almost every day for earnings season is that the guidance is telling us the consumer is slowing.
Hurting.
They're hurting, right? And
Yeah.
we saw it today. TripAdvisor, obviously a travel site, they're not doing so well. Expedia was last week. That plummeted on warnings as well. And then you throw in, other things like Shopify, Twilio, some of these other names that are connected to the consumer. And we are seeing this continuing. So I think the essence of it is it's technical analysis is all about data, right? It's about looking at the data and you just draw conclusions and probabilities. And so for me, it just reinforces the probability that we probably do have a hard landing late this year.
Later this year.
Yeah.
Not so soon.
Well,
it's a gradual process.
Everything takes, this is just like the housing market. You can see the collapse coming like years away, but it just takes time because it's such a big market. And I think the same thing goes for the stock market, where you have so many investors that are been conditioned to buy the dips, that there's still people out there that want to get in on every pullback. And that'll take some time to kind of unwind until we really see the bigger drop. And same thing for economics. It just takes time for for companies to recognize that there is a slowdown. We're starting to see it. Then the layoffs will slowly start. Then they'll gain steam. And so it really does push it like 6 months out probably.
Okay, I wanted to clarify that because I've been thinking about this. I know you're constantly talking about, we're headed for, a big dip. So you don't jump into certain stocks after a slight dip or a certain pull. Obviously you follow the charts, but you're saying even when we see some pullbacks, we could see some strong and very deep pullbacks further out.
And that's all about time frame, right? So on certain dips, like if something like TripAdvisor today was down 30%, we basically had that as a day trade level today. In fact, I gave it in the game plan, perfect dead on level, and it bounced. But that was a very short-term trade. There's no way I'm buying TripAdvisor right now for a longer term hold.
Okay.
Same thing with Shopify. We did a day trade on it, made money, but it was at a key level that I liked as a day trade, not as a swing trade or a long-term investment. And I think you have to just recognize that, yes, there are opportunities shorter term, but the longer term, you want to follow the bigger macro picture.
Got it. Okay, let's take a look at, you usually start with the S&P.
Yeah. So today was another day where, to me, when I see these companies missing and the consumer hurting, and I'm like, so we opened lower today, and then very quickly we went green here on the S&P, and then just sideways the rest of the day. So again, to me, this reinforces the resilience of the market in that people are just willing to say, you know what, that's just that company, that's that company. After a while, I start saying, well, it's a lot of companies.
You were seeing that, yeah.
But for the most part, people are in that mode of just being like, you know what, this is fine. The Fed is there. They're like the parent to the market. They're like the one that will catch the child if they fall. And that's the way the investing public and even the government feels like, oh, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. We'll worry about it the next day. Oh, not today, the next day, right? And to me, that's a concern because we all know that we have to pay for everything that we're doing, debt-wise and credit-wise. All this stuff has to be paid for eventually. But for the most part, investors are like, who cares?
Yeah.
And again, for someone like me, I worry about that, but right now, at least as of today, markets don't really care too much. And here we have the market closing. So a couple stocks today. And again, this was the chart that I used in the game plan this morning. You can see right down here, we literally went into that. And I have my black marker on. Let's switch that over there. But right back into this level here. And we got a nice bounce right there. So that was the day trade from earlier today. And then TripAdvisor was incredible. This was a much more volatile name. But look at the move here. So it went into the level I gave in the game plan right down here, and the bounce was literally like 15%. And
Don't you love it that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it sure does make me look good on occasion, which is nice. And trust me, and don't get me wrong, I have ones that, like, I'll have the level here and it'll go, like, way through it. You have those too. That's just part of the probabilities. But certainly a day where, yeah, I mean, and I look at the S&P. This is the spiders chart, right? The S&P tracking ETF. And I continue to think, so this was a very important level yesterday we talked about, and it did hold up today, even though we opened lower and came back in. And remember, this is the gap fill right here, and this is also the 786 fib. So Fibonacci right there. So there is a lot of resistance here. But as of now, again, the markets, yes, they didn't break through it, but they sure were resilient today on the charts. But yeah.
I know you've also been following natural gas.
Mm-hmm. Yes, natural gas has been remarkable here. So if we just bring up the natural gas chart, it does look like it's going to pull back. And the beauty of this now is that, and you can see today, so this is really cool. So if we go to the chart, here's your natural gas chart. We've been trending up. I caught this as a long, although granted I sold right here and it's gone a little bit higher. But what I like about this is it closed above and it confirmed, right? So once it confirms, now it means that the breakout has occurred, and it doesn't mean I buy it up here. Like, that's crazy. I'm not gonna, when it went straight up like 20% here or whatever, you don't pay up for it like that. What you do is, once you have a confirmed breakout, you wait for the pullback, which inevitably will come, and you buy the retrace to the scene of the crime. So now at around 210 to 205, now I would be interested in re-entering right down here. And that, again, means you're buying on support. So you're buying on the floor, which gives you protection. And then you also know the beauty of this is if it does get below here and starts trading here, now the floor is broken. So you can exit the trade if you want to. Just take the small loss and move out. Versus people that buy up here, they got to wait all the way down here to find out if it breaks. There's a lot more risk involved in doing that. So great move on natural gas. But again, one of the things I see here is the high from 2 days ago. Yesterday we couldn't get above it. Today we pierced it, but then still closed down. Even a little mini topping tail right there. So that, to me, I just read those candles, and to me it tells me we should have some sort of pullback in the coming days.
Sometime soon.
Yep.
I do want to mention, because I know you follow gold, of course, as well. Gold bars selling like hotcakes in Korea's convenience stores and vending machines.
Oh my goodness.
No joke, yeah.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
I mean, it's
when
like
you hear
Costco, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
guess we're seeing that here as well.
I think what it tells us
Not
is
in
that
vending machines, but
yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. But I think what it tells us is that everyone in the world is starting to see the debt issues. Like Japan, the yen is starting to crumble more and more, and the Japanese are having to intervene in their currency markets. Yes. And it's just like everyone sees the debt levels, and they know the only way out is to print, which means all these countries are going to print, and so hard assets mean something. It's actually a way to hold on to your wealth. And take a look at this. This is, wow, look at this.
Reporting earnings right now.
This is earnings. Holy cow, here we go. So Airbnb popped here, 167. Now it's at 157. Now it's at 155, 153, 152. I feel like what do they call those people? Those at the...
An auctioneer, yes. Sorry, that took me a second. I'm focused on this because I have to tell you, I'm not used to this. When I first started with you, we saw a lot of bounces, but after earnings. But lately, this has been a trend, which is it's awful to see.
So I don't even know what they reported, folks. But let's just talk about this. What does this tell me? So the fact that it popped first tells me their earnings, which are the first things they release, were probably a beat. And that's the first thing the computer programs read. And then the second thing is the guidance. And one of the things that I was saying, and I think we even talked about this, or at least I mentioned in the game plan a few days ago, I said, listen, if Expedia is hurting, and Expedia, by the way, VRBO, which is their version of Airbnb, that was the part that was actually hurting in their business of why they missed their guidance. And so I said to them, I just connected the dots. Well, if that's happening, then maybe Airbnb drops on earnings, and sure enough, nice little drop here. I actually had this, so I picked up a tiny bit short going into earnings based on that, and I had a cover order at 147 and change. So it looks like I got out. I have to check when we get off of here, but no, not bad.
I wish someone was close by so we could see.
Ben, can you look at my screen? Am I out of Airbnb?
I'm sure it's an impressive amount too. Good for you.
So just to be clear, like on a normal trade on this, I'd probably do like 5,000 shares or even more. I only did 1,000.
Okay.
Because what?
You're out.
All right, I'm out. So again, I shorted right into the. So basically, I made about $10,000 there.
Hey,
which is awesome.
That's
great.
Awesome. It's great.
To be that, why I did so small on this is because you could see what happened. What if it didn't come down? I could have lost 10 too, and so I wasn't going to put 5,000 and potentially lose 50,000 on that type of thing. So
sure.
So yeah, but pretty wild stuff. And now we also have, what was the other one? There was a couple others. ARM.
We've got Uber, ARM.
Yeah.
AMC is another one.
Nice little dip on ARM here. Again, it's bouncing off the lows here, but this is a semiconductor company for those of you that don't know. And so the reason why this is an important report is this is probably the biggest semi until we get NVIDIA in about a week and a half or so. And so, again, if this comes down, people are going to say, uh-oh, maybe the semis aren't doing so well. Now, it is bouncing back as of now. It's only down, looks like only down about 3%. But just interesting to kind of take note, and we should watch this after hours, because if it does head back down, then it starts to it'll probably mean the semis are down tomorrow as a group, because it will be kind of like a flag for the semiconductors.
I was going to ask you, are a lot of these short-lived, these dips on earnings, are they usually short-lived?
Depends on the market. So this is the crazy thing about it, is that we've seen when we're in a hardcore bull market, yes, because buyers will just buy them right up. Okay. But we've seen Starbucks, and then let's go to some of these charts here, and you can see it's back to 102 there.
Tesla was a big market mover today too.
Yes, Tesla too.
Zoom, Intel.
But take a look at this. So look at Starbucks, right? So reported earnings dropped, and look, it's just kind of drifted lower, had its first bounce today. It's not bouncing. Let's look at Expedia, at EXPE. Look at this. Earnings drop, slowly drift. So you see the theme here is that
you're answering
you're
my
not
question.
getting the bounces. People aren't running into these like they used to when we were trending up in the market as strongly as we were. And listen, we're still near all-time highs, but you're still not seeing the buyers stepping in right now. And that to me is also a warning sign about the markets
exactly.
as well.
Tells you something.
Yep.
Yeah, you brought up Shopify, Uber, Lyft. Those were market movers.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom, Affirm, Intel, and Rivian.
Yes, yeah, Intel. So let me take a look at Intel. I didn't really pay attention to that today, going to the daily chart. Yeah, so Intel's on a very important technical level, but again, this is one where here. So a good example again. Earnings, and look, it basically it bounced a little bit, and then it's just kind of gone even lower. It did finally hit a technical support, but I don't so one of the things, let me zoom in on this so we can do a little education here. So one of the things I don't like doing is if we had come straight in here, right? So here's your earnings, and if we had come in and tagged this level here, I would have bought. But because we bear flagged and now we're here, I won't buy this. So what it shows you is that a level is only as good as the way the chart comes into the level. Okay, so it means that you have to be a good enough investor or trader to say, wait, it got here and now it's making a bear flag, which tells me it's most likely going to go even lower, or at least probabilities have shifted. So I would have bought here, I won't buy here now. This is no good for me anymore. So again, just to keep that in mind, I think and this is stuff that I teach, obviously, but it's these little nuances are like literally the difference between being a super profitable investor and like maybe break even or even a losing trader. It is a big deal.
It definitely is. I want to point something out too, because people compliment you constantly on YouTube, and what I love is that you keep things simple. I am obviously not a trader. I am learning.
But you are learning.
You keep it so simple. I'm able to learn from you. Both your parents were educators, right?
That's right. Both
so
of them
it's
were
in your
teachers.
blood. It's
Heck,
in your genes.
I even had them as teachers in school.
Exactly, and I don't know if you knew that, but to me, that just shows that's why he's so good at simplifying it and making it, just digestible
and honestly,
understandable.
I also think like for me, this is how I had to learn. So if I had to learn this way, and everyone looks at me like, wow, I'm 25 years trader, but really I started out like being like, well, what the heck does that even mean? Like, is this what are these things even called, right? I didn't know back then. And so it's like it's really you have to put yourself in other people's positions and in their shoes. and understand that most people, this looks like a foreign, like this would be like
Exactly.
reading German or Japanese or whatever to them. And so you really have to break it down as simply as possible. And then the light bulb goes on. And it's so cool to see that with traders that I've trained. It's amazing and it's super rewarding. That's actually one of the favorite
Very
things.
fulfilling for you,
It
no
is.
doubt, because I watch these guys in action and it's just in seconds during the day trading. Bitcoin, we got to make sure we
Yes.
cover Bitcoin, not because there's this, huge movement or
right?
anything exciting, but I know a lot of you follow this, and it does have some big movement at times.
It does. And honestly, the more quiet it gets, then you know the move is coming, right?
Gets
It's
you
like,
on
oh
edge.
boy, here we go. So what we've seen is basically we had this beautiful bounce off this level, beautiful right back here, but we're now starting to drift down. And my only concern here is, and listen, you're stuck within a channel, right? So as long as you're in the channel, like if you're a bull, as long as you don't take this area out, you're good. Right, I mean that it could even come back and test as long as you don't confirm below here, you're good. If you're a bear, you're actually kind of good too because you just don't want to see it confirm above here. And again, all you're doing is going do, and then the idea maybe there, maybe here, trading within that range. It's when it gets outside of this range, that's when the bigger move will happen. And that's going to be what I'm watching for. Now, the only thing I worry about is the stock market, right? So the stock market, if it starts to crumble back down, we've had a big rally in the stock market. In all fairness, you saw at the same time as the stock market bottomed like 4 or 5 days ago, this is the same move that Bitcoin saw. So by assumption here, we say, okay, well, if the stock market starts going down, it may drag Bitcoin down, and then you have to fight this level, right? That's for a bull. You need to see that level hold. Otherwise, you're going to go to 52,000 and then maybe 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Gareth, thank you so much. I know we have jobless claims
Yep.
out tomorrow, and then tomorrow's earnings include Roblox, Discover, Unity, Plug Power, Dropbox, and Marathon. So
awesome.
we'll be covering those tomorrow. More excitement.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
so much. Remember, you can catch Gareth navigate the charts in real time every single weekday morning. That is before the opening bell, starting at 9 a.m. right here on his show. It's called The Game Plan. It airs on the Verified YouTube channel. So that does it for us for Trading the Close on this Wednesday. We will see you back tomorrow afternoon. Make it a great rest of the day.